Evening, everybody. I am doing a persuasive speech as to why Americans should learn a second language. You know, our world has 7.6 billion people spread out through almost 200 different countries, and in those countries contain almost 7,000 different languages. The world is so diverse in culture and in heritage, and language plays just this key feature in all of it. So many countries in the world have a second or even third language that they deem necessary to learn, or it's just been part of the heritage. For example, in South Africa specifically, they actually learn their native language and French. So, in saying that, the world is just this huge hot pot of cultures, and no better. And what's the best country to look at? Here in the United States, we have a huge mix of cultures and we have 400 million people in this country, but ironically, most of us only know one language, that being English. So, why should Americans learn a second language? Well, to start off, how many people worldwide speak multiple languages? According to ilanguages.org, it's about 60% of the world. And according to blog.bosu.com's article, the most spoken languages in the world 2019, the three most spoken languages are Mandarin Chinese, English, and Spanish, respectively. So I'm saying that how many Americans are actually multilingual, and what is this other language that many of us know, or some of us know? Well, according to The Amazing Rise of Bilingualism by Francis Grosjean, PhD, in 2016, about a fifth of our population actually knows a second language. And what is the second language? Well, most of us already know it's Spanish. I actually asked everyone in the audience if they knew a second language, and it ironically ties up to what all know, what the data ties up to. About a fifth of the people know. My mother was the only one that knew a second language, and that being American Sign Language. So, why should Americans learn a second language? Every other country in the world, most developed countries in the world make learning a second language mandatory. And the reasons why are for overseas trades, expansion of economy, mixing of cultures, and as I stated earlier. So, what are these benefits of learning a second or even third language? Well, I asked you guys if you knew the benefits, and most of you had a generalized understanding, but it doesn't hurt to add on to them. There are multiple benefits, mostly relating to intelligence and better self-esteem. And according to leadwithlanguages.org's article, the top 10 reasons to learn languages, some of their reasons are, like I said, increased intelligence, increased confidence, but it's also like understanding of the people in the countries, learning the language, breaking down that barrier that you would normally go to when you have go to a different country. In Donnie's case, he wants to go to China to go eat the food. Well, maybe if you learn the language a little bit, you'll want to see more than just a bit of the food, right? There's so many benefits that I could list off for hours, but anyway, I said about these benefits, and it may sound easy, but it's really not. What are these barriers that kind of, or should I say, obstacles that are associated with different languages? Well, there are 5. According to atlasandboots.com's Foreign Language Institute language difficulty, the ranking of languages, there are 5 different levels for ranking. Level 1 is more of those romantic languages. So you know what a romantic language is, right? It's French, Spanish, Italian, but also Swedish, Afrikaans, and Norwegian. Level 2 is actually something I experienced. It's culturally starting to kind of drift away from cultures, but still somewhat similar to English. That'd be German. And I took 2 years of that myself. Level 3 is more linguistically and culturally different from English. That would go along the lines of Indonesian, Swahili. Kind of drifting off into more complex languages. Level 4 is linguistically or culturally different compared to English, so that's kind of drifting more to actual calligraphy or art writing. So that'd be like Persian, Vietnamese, and Hungarian. And level 5 is the hardest and it's the most different compared to English. And so those languages are like calligraphic, like I said earlier, they're Cantonese, Arabic, Korean, Japanese, and Mandarin Chinese. So, not all hope is lost, of course. There is a really easy language, and of course there's a really hard language. The easiest language for English speakers to learn is Norwegian. The reason why is because we actually come from the same exact branch as Norwegian, in Latin, that is. It's a Germanic Latin branch of languages. We come from a very similar group. Of course, and there's multiple ways to pronounce a word, so it's not like you'll mess up by mispronouncing a word, as opposed to Cantonese Chinese, which is the hardest language to learn. It has thousands upon thousands of different characters that are specially designed for that language and are not found anywhere else, really. And, in fact, in southeastern China, China has two different ways of Mandarin, Cantonese and Mandarin Chinese. Excuse me. So Cantonese Chinese is found in the southeastern area, and even then, like I said, Chinese is extremely varied, and in southeastern China, Cantonese has 4 different dialects. So it's not exactly an easy street. But I'm giving all this negative, so how long will it take you to learn any of these languages? So for level 1 languages, that would be, like James and Jody, you wanted to learn Spanish, right? Well, that's a level 1 language, and that would take you about 6 months worth of studying, 6 months worth of studying. Level 2, so that'd be like German, what I took. It took about 7.5 months worth of studying. Level 3, so that'd be like Indonesian and Swahili. That's about 9 months worth of studying. Level 4, so that'd be Vietnamese, I believe. Yes, Vietnamese, that'd be about almost a year's worth of studying. And level 5, hardest languages, will take the most time. So for Japanese and Chinese, that's actually almost 2 years worth of studying you'll have to, learn from in order to become fluent. I asked you in my questionnaire why you guys want to learn the languages you learned. Jody, James, you wanted to learn Spanish solely because of the fact that it's the second most commonly spoken language here in America. Well, why not, right? You'd have to sit in a classroom or, take 6 months of your life to learn it, but it's worth it. Now, my mother wanted to relearn American Sign Language, which is also classified as level 1, so you'd spend about 6 months worth of time learning it to become fluent. Kayla, you wanted to learn Japanese to eventually go there for a trip, correct? Well, and Donnie, you wanted to go to learn Chinese to go there and eat the food, right? That's about 2 years of studying, but all languages are worth it to learn. So, how would one learn a second language? Well, you could easily have learned it in high school or in college, but in fact, some colleges actually require learning a second language, so you're prepared for the new world. But of course, since we're all not in college or high school anymore, we go to online sources. And according to Idioma.com's article, the 7 best language learning softwares in 2018, the awards, the best softwares were Duolingo, Idioma, Memrise, Mondly, Babbel, Italic, and Quizlet. In fact, I actually have a video to show you guys of Duolingo. Oh. 1 second. I didn't realize it went black on me. So here's the video about Duolingo.
Everybody agrees, Duolingo is a great way to learn a language. It's addictive because languages are split into bite-sized skills that feel like games. You lose a life when you get something wrong, and you earn points when you complete a lesson. Duolingo teaches you to read, write, listen, and speak, and it's extremely effective. In fact, an independent study found that 34 hours on Duolingo are equal to a whole university semester. A semester of knowledge that you can fit into your breaks, commutes, and moments spent waiting in line. Language, free at last.
So there are many different forms of learning here in this world. So just when you think about learning a language, it's not restricted to high school or college. You can learn simply online too. And as Duolingo said, it's 32 hours worth of studying is 34? 34 hours worth of studying is equivalent to 1 semester. And that first 34 hours are actually free. So, and of course it can adapt to your busy schedule since all of us work full-time jobs. So the times are changing and we're becoming a much more diverse nation with more and more immigrants coming in daily. We as Americans have learned to integrate these people that come in and combine them into our culture, and we become such an amazing superpower from learning from them, economic superpower from learning from them. However, we just lack on development in the world with, learning a second language. Hopefully with this speech I've informed you of resources and at least nudged you in the direction of possibly learning a second language. Thank you.